Absolutely insane. That's how Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders describes the policies coming out of Washington in recent years. The governor sat down with CBN's chief political analyst David Brody to talk about her plans to restore sanity, one step at a time.
The Arkansas state motto is "The people rule," and that's something Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders takes to heart.
How are you, David?
You doing well?
Good to see you.
As President Trump's press secretary, she carried forth a "Make America Great Again" message. And now in Little Rock, Governor Sanders sees her immediate goal as more "make common sense great again."
To me, it is absolutely insane, the things that are coming out of the Biden administration.
Part of that reaction is due to federal changes to Title IX that now includes gender identity as part of what is considered sex discrimination. Governor Sanders says she won't enforce it, even if it means losing out funding for sports and other activities.
We shouldn't need executive orders or lawsuits or pushback because there are two genders. Science is very clear on this. There are men, there are women. And we want to protect that. I want to protect what is unique and special about being a woman. And they want to erase that. And we're not going to allow that to happen. I'm a mom. I have a daughter who plays sports. And frankly, I think every single parent in the country should be outraged at what this administration is doing.
Objective truth under attack here. God kind of...
He did. He was very clear. In the beginning, God created man and woman. I mean, it doesn't get much more simple than that.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders is making history as the first female governor in Arkansas history, while she's also the youngest governor in America. That hasn't stopped her from taking bold actions.
That includes changing state documents to now refer to those who give birth as a woman rather than a birth giver. Driver's licenses will no longer have X for gender. It's either male or female now. In her fight to protect children, Sanders signed a 2023 law making it easier to sue doctors who perform gender transitions on minors after the courts blocked a state law banning those procedures. Now she's exploring ways to potentially limit a child's smartphone use.
I have a 12-year-old daughter. You look at the information out there, and it's absolutely terrifying. I think so many people, so many parents in particular, don't realize the dangers and the access that their kids have by putting a cell phone in their hand. They are opening up so many access points to their kids that if they knew about, they would never allow to happen.
These moves shouldn't surprise anyone, as Sanders made her perspective pretty clear when she gave the 2023 State of the Union response just a month after her being inaugurated.
The dividing line in America is no longer between right or left. The choice is between normal or crazy.
And she sees that philosophy giving her former boss a leg up in November.
I think it's one of the big reasons that you're seeing Donald Trump continue to climb in the polls, because every single thing this administration does is anti-American. It's anti-who we are.
What has it been like to see him in that courtroom? He's got to be going stir crazy.
He doesn't sit still well. He's somebody who needs to constantly be on the go, on the move, getting things done. Nobody else could take the level of attack and criticism that he does and continue to engage in the process. I think most people would be curled up in the corner, and yet he gets up and just keeps pushing and keeps moving forward.
So could Trump move forward into the White House again? A lot depends on how women vote. Democrats believe abortion in a post-Roe world will help them with that demographic. Sanders sees that view as too simplistic.
What does the Republican Party do on this issue? How do they appeal to the woman vote, the suburban vote, if you will, the suburban women vote on this?
Women are voting on the economy. They're voting on the border. They're voting on national security. They're voting on whether their schools are strong, their communities are safe. I'm a parent. I care about a lot of different issues. Don't single me down and file me down to one thing.
Speaking of the 2024 election, what about a woman like Sanders as Trump's VP?
Are you ruling it out, or are you keeping your options open?
Like, I love the job I have. I've been governor for a little over a year. Look forward to having this position for the next 6.5. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure Donald Trump wins in November, defeats Joe Biden, and gets him out of the White House.
In the meantime, Governor Sanders will focus on work here at the State House. And she's getting advice from a former governor who just happens to be her father.
You know, he is an amazing phone a friend. So he is happy to give advice when I ask, but it's rare that he will offer it without me asking. And so I try to tell him, Dad, if you see that I'm doing something I could do better or should do differently, call me. But he is very careful to let me pave my own path.
It's a path that's had many challenges, including a recent bout with thyroid cancer.
You're a fighter. You're now a cancer survivor. What was that experience like for you, and how did faith play a role, your Christian faith play a role in all of that?
You know, it's pretty terrifying, to be honest. I can sit here today and say, by the grace of God and amazing healthcare here in the state, I am 100% cancer-free, and I feel great, and I'm very, very thankful. But it certainly gives you a new perspective on life and reminds you of what's really important.
Like making a difference in people's lives, a lesson she says she learned from her parents.
When you're in the chair and you're making decisions, you can take a step back and say, does this help or hurt people in my state? If it helps them, go for it. If it doesn't, then walk away. And if you put it in simple terms like that, the decision making gets a lot easier. I absolutely love what I get to do.
David Brody, CBN News, in Pine Bluff, Arkansas.
Well, in case you haven't heard, there's an election coming up. I would encourage you, please make sure you're registered to vote. I will absolutely encourage you to vote and participate in our democracy. Without you, democracy doesn't work. We all have to do our part to say, here is my opinion. Here's the candidate that I want to represent me. Here in Virginia, we're still not through the primary process, but there's a pretty big one coming up in November. I'm not about to tell you how to vote, but I am going to tell you, please vote. Make sure that your voice is heard. Now, as a Christian, I will tell you to do this too. We need to pray for our country. We need to pray for everyone in leadership. The enemy of our souls doesn't seem to sleep, and we shouldn't give God any rest until he gives us the victory and have our nation covered with him. May the knowledge of the Lord cover America as the waters cover the sea. Let's pray that down. Let's pray for our country. Let's pray for everyone in our country. These divisions that so threaten us, that everyone's having these apocalyptic statements that it's the end of democracy or there's civil war coming and all of these things. We need to pray and pray for unity, that we would be one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Those shouldn't be aspirations. That should be real in America today.